Subscribe, hit that bell icon and share this clip if you enjoy it. This is TRS Clips.
So you spoke about people being agents of God, of the universe. One of the agents of the universe is our common friend, Jai Shetty.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to describe Jai, my brother,
Yes.
to the audiences before he became the Jai Shetty that we know of.
Yes.
Because I feel he's a great representation of someone who brings true wisdom and gives it out to the modern world on such a big stage.
Yes.
So, what went right for him? What transformed within him? Things that he wouldn't say because he's too humble a guy. He doesn't even talk about these things. But I just want people to know what's gone on in the life of Jai before he became Jai Shetty.
So Jai has been a very, very sincere student of spirituality, and he has mentioned about our meeting in the book, I think like a monk. And actually, I met him first in 2006, around that time. And, he was so sincere in wanting to understand what are the principles of spirituality that he would, attend so many of my discourses, and we would have long conversations. And even sometimes he would be driving me around and asking questions. And I must, one thing which many of you may not know, that he has one of the best handwriting amongst anyone I have seen. The way he would take notes, it was so systematic, so organized, which really made me very impressed that, he has a very clear thought process. The clarity which he had in his understanding was amazing. And because of his genuine sincerity and humility, he was very young, and at that time he was already an influencer, even when he was not in his current social media influencer profile. But so many youth were connected to him, and he was like a leader in terms of his thought process. And so many of the things which he saw, which we were doing at Mumbai, he tried to do similar things in wherever he was doing in London and other places. And one of the things which really I did not expect was he would actually come and become a monk. So I really asked him a few times, are you sure? Because you're so young, so good looking, and you have your whole career in front of you. Why do you want to do this? But he was really wanting to go deeper into the spiritual aspects and practice and understand and get a complete perspective of things inside out. So, when he was in the monastery, we don't treat anyone as a rock star. So he had to do everything which, people are expected to do in a monastery, including, cleaning the trash, helping in cooking and whatever other things. So this is all part of the training, because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions 20 points of knowledge. In the 13th chapter of Gita, from verse 9 to 13. It begins with amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshantirarjam. So amanitvam means humility. Adambitvam means pridelessness. These are the first two items of knowledge. So when a person is in that mood of being humble and prideless, then he can soak in the spiritual knowledge. So I've been serving with His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj from 1993 onwards, and I got the opportunity to introduce Jai to Radhanath Swami at that time, and he really got connected very wonderfully. And in general, his humility and service attitude could be seen through those days, and that is something which has touched me the most, because that reveals a person's character. And in 2012, we spent at least 15 to 20 days traveling in America, where he was traveling with me in different places. It was almost same time, May of 2012. And one of the characteristic features which I noticed in him is he would ask very deep, genuine questions with the desire to understand how he can apply it in his own life and transform.
And that's what he's doing for the world as well.
Exactly.
Mm.
So after, he spent his time in the monastery, he felt he could use his wisdom in various ways. And that time, none of us had any idea about social media and anything. So then he worked for some time in the corporate after he left the monastery. And then he learned a lot of things about social media. And then he combined the ancient wisdom with the modern technology to share compassion with your generation and the generation next to yours, to give that knowledge. So I would say that if someone starts speaking Russian, I can't understand. If someone starts speaking Chinese, I can't understand. If someone starts speaking Japanese, I won't be able to understand even the best things they may be saying for my benefit. So both of us would need a translator. So that translator helps us understand. The translator acts as a bridge. So there is knowledge embedded in the wisdom. It was all in Sanskrit. And then Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder of ISKON, translated it into English. And the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, which is the publishing house of ISKON, translated, published, and has distributed 500 million pieces of heavy philosophy literature across the world. Never before strong, direct philosophy has become so mainstream in terms of distribution. And therefore, that was the first level of translation. From Sanskrit, at least we were able to read in English and get some access. But then even that English to this generation is like Russian or Japanese. So you need someone, like Jay and others who would help another level of translation.
Yeah.
So I would say that is a very important role which he is playing, acting as a bridge between a certain generation and the timeless knowledge which is awaiting them. So that's my take.
Specifically with Jai, and this happens to everyone on social media, but have you heard this dialogue? It's from a Batman movie. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself becoming a villain. Anyone who just grows in mainstream media, and forget mainstream media, in the world in general, if you grow to a certain degree, just people think you're a villain. People will find faults. It's how I think the human mind is built. It's how human society is built. We're not meant to see someone with that kind of a following or that kind of clout. And even when there's no faults, if someone's got good intent, people point fingers and try pulling you down. Early on, we spoke about how your karma, who you are as a person, how you've lived your life till a certain point, plays a huge role even in your material success. And you might be working very hard and you may not get material success because maybe your karmas aren't aligned with that level of material success. And similarly, you might just do a few things and get a huge amount of material success. And
reverse gear.
The truck example. And people will say that, no, how could he have such a meteoric rise? Jai has written all those videos which went viral. He's written them himself. Even those ideas were gifts from the universe. That you've done a certain level of work. You've achieved something on a karmic level. Therefore, take these ideas. And these ideas then will therefore bring you material success. That's what I've always felt about Jai. I've never told him this myself also. But I feel he had a lot of karmas which led him up to his career. And I remember he had this one year, I think it was 2016 to 17, where he blew up on Facebook. Just out of the blue. No one knew he was. And then he exploded. And that's what I always thought in my head, that this person would have done a lot of good stuff before his social media career.
Right.